Jesse Vega is a chart-topping artist known for his cohesive pop and R&B fusion, as showcased in his latest self-titled album, Jesse Vega, featuring award-winning singles like Seras Tu and Tell Me Lies, along with his newest track, Doing Me. And Jesse is back with us on the show for the countless time. I don't know how many times you've been on, but you're back. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm really excited. It's album month. It's also
Yes.
corn season. My birthday just passed, so
Oh,
it's
wow.
been nothing but amazing things happening in the month of January. So it's wonderful.
Absolutely. Now, this is your self-titled album, Jesse Vega, and I want to talk about that title first of all. Why did you decide to name it after yourself and put the 3 instead of the E?
So the reason why I self-titled it was because I was going through a rough time in the last 3 years making the album. I started in 2020, and then the last recording happened in like 2023. And I had like a different theme at the time that I was gonna
Yeah.
name it. But as I started making it, it started to change. And my brand name is Jesse Vega with a 3, which is actor, dancer, recording artist, 3 sides of me. But with the album, it just so ironically happened that it was the third one. And I recorded the album within 3 years.
Yeah. Wow.
And on top of that, the album has like 3 different facets within the storyline. Starts off with being in love, then a heartbreak, and then you realize that you don't need anybody. You need to put yourself first. So it's like 3 different changes in your life. So that's one of the reasons why I named it Jesse Vega with the 3.
And there's certainly more than 3 songs on the album. There's actually 12, which is
Yeah,
dividable by 3. So is that a
right.
coincidence, like you were saying about the 3 different parts? Is there 4 songs for each?
Well, actually, there's so in the original album itself, there's actually 9 total songs. And then there are 3 bonus tracks like "Come
Ah.
Back," "Tell Me Lies," the remix, and "For You," the remix. But that's absolutely very interesting that you said that because yeah, it's ironically like it's like 9 songs and with 3 to 9, yeah.
Yes. And about the tracks, it's got Seras Tu and Tell Me Lies on it, which we've had you on the show to talk about before. And I think the first one was, I guess this year it'll be like 3 years ago. So were they originally intended to be put in this album? Or was it like, I'll just put them in because they need to be in an album?
Right. Well, first off, did you get to even listen to the album itself
Oh,
when you
yes.
got to have the project?
Yes.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah. So like Seras Tu was the first single. It was actually the first single and it came out in 2021. So I felt like, it was like the epitome of what I wanted it to say to put out in the album. And it was a part of an album that I wanted to put. So that was like the first single. And because it was an award-winning song back in 2022, I had to put nothing but the best tracks on the album. That's one of the reasons why it was on the album.
Now, what was the actual inspiration behind the album itself and the themes and the tracks on it?
Well, so I worked with this amazing producer called Invert, and he's from India. And the inspiration for the album was mostly pop, obviously, because we love pop music, but also R&B lyrics. And I wanted it to be different than the last 2 because the first one was more dance, the second one was more pop, and it has some R&B in it. But I was like, you know what? I felt like that last one wasn't really like the best project at the time. I felt like it was a little bit rushed. And if I think about it, sometimes I think about that album and I'm like, damn, it sounds a little bit like a bunch of collection of songs, and it wasn't really as cohesive as I wanted it to be. So the inspiration was more of just living life, taking time, and coming up with things organically without trying to feel like you have to prove something. And then the music came within itself. I wanted it to be pop based, obviously, but also the lyrics were more R&B, and I wanted it to be more of an eclectic where it wasn't just only just pop songs. You have a little bit of everything.
What were the sort of different influences that shaped that eclectic sound, do you think?
Mostly, I mean, me as a Latino artist growing up in the Bronx, I love a little bit of everything. So I love like the pop music, the house music. I mean, there were inspirations like for Tell Me Lies. I wanted it to be a very like Justin Bieber influence with the Purpose album in 2015,
Yeah.
where sometimes some of the vocal modulations or the instrumental modulations. So I had told Invert like, okay, for Tell Me Lies, I wanted it to be this inspiration. And then you got this song called Cloud Nine, which has like big drums and big horns. And, I'm a big Jennifer Lopez fan. So I
Oh,
was like,
yes.
again, I wanted to have that song and an inspiration to like that kind of style. Then there were, like the background vocals and how would you do your background vocals? And that's also an inspiration of like Mariah Carey. So there was a little bit of everything with the music that I took an inspiration from different artists, veterans in the industry that, that's the only way you're going to learn to make great music, by learning from veteran artists.
And the album covers a range of emotions, from being in love to losing love and embracing self-love. So how do you navigate those different themes throughout the creative process? And is there a particular message that you hope listeners take away from it?
It's a good question. I mean, at the time when I was going through making the album, I was going through a very, very rough time, Toby. It was in the height of COVID. So, emotions were running high. I'm pretty sure, COVID for you must have been very hard. And there were relationships that became tested. Some relationships didn't make it past 2020.
Yep.
And then there were maybe one, if I was lucky, or two that managed to stay current. And at the time I was just really going through like, why is this happening? Why are the changes are happening? Why are these relationships are being tested? And I didn't know what was going to happen. I felt alone. I felt very, at times depressed, because a lot of the relationships that I had were just dwindling out. And, it was like a self-evolution. It was like the world stopped and it went and it restarted again. So because of the creation of the album and the inspiration, where it was being in love and starting new friendships or starting new love, to at a point where it was like, you know what? I don't need anybody. I don't need people's validation. I don't need to be in the company of others, of comfort. I can manage to live on my own by myself and move forward and protect my heart and not have the disrespect of people trying to belittle me, trying to make me feel some type of way. And that was the message. By, it's okay. You go through different relationships, you go through different friendships, but at the end of the day, always know how to stand on your own and tell yourself you don't need anybody. You can walk hell through hellfire alone and you'll be okay.
The album also has themes of self-discovery. So was that also from the same inspiration, if you see what I mean?
Yeah. The self-discovery within making the album was learning about not feeling like I'm alone.
Yeah.
Not feeling like, oh my God, I don't like being alone. In the last 7 months in 2023 was a big boiling point for me. I mean, I had an amazing time in 2023. I think 2023 was amazing. I was 33, 333, angels,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But it was a boiling point. There were relationships that I had to cut off. There were relationships that I felt like I'm not going through a cycle that I went through in 2020. But because of me making that decision of like, goodbye, I don't need you, I'm moving forward, I'm gonna be okay, then the alone part came, and feeling like, every week going to the restaurant by yourself, eating by yourself, hearing, trying to find new relationships or friendships. I also went through, a breakup. So it was a lot, but I realized that it's gonna take some time. But I know that whatever happens in 2024 and with the success of this album, I knew that new beginnings are gonna arise.
In terms of the tracks on the album, are there any particular tracks there that hold a special significance for you, either in terms of that personal connection or just the creative process?
I mean, every song was very different, but what I'm going through right now and the theme is basically the latest single, Doing Me. Doing Me is like, who is Jessie Vega? Like, I can really define Jessie Vega in that song. You have the musical instrumentation, it's very theatrical, but it's also emotional, and it has a message. Then there are songs that are fun, like, you have Cloud Nine. It's very R&B and it's very funk. And then you have, Tell Me Lies. Like every song has a different facet of what I went through that I love. But I would say what's going on now is Doing Me, the latest single. And I would also feel that anybody who listens to that song is not only that's going to cater to me, but it's also going to cater to everybody who can relate. If you're going through a breakup, if you're going through a loss, if you're going through a friendship that's not working out, that you can put yourself forward and you can move on from all the pain that's going on. So yeah, for now, Doing Me.
Yes, and Doing Me is generating a lot of buzz, and you maybe wouldn't expect a show production number to also work as being quite emotional, but you managed to pull it off quite well. So what's the secret behind that?
So, okay, here's what happened. I've done a lot of music. I've done a lot of different songs like pop and dance and all that. And a lot of my friends and people who know me, they always say, I really love the theatrics in you. I love the Broadway in you because you have a big personality. And because, you are an actor that started off as an actor that went into music later on in life, that it will be amazing to see you doing those sounds and musicalities. But it was very hard to do that because I didn't know the right producer who can give me the right instrumentations. Like, I need these strings, I need this guitar, I need this violin. When you're working with producers, they're sitting at home and they don't really have every instrument in their home, that you have to make it from scratch. So because of that, I had to like find a producer that was gonna literally find the music within itself and make a song that was just musically inclined. And I wanted it to do like something that was Broadway-esque because that's what people know me as.
Yeah.
And that's what people know, that who am I as Jessie Vega. And that's why I did the Doing Me song with the Broadway and the musicality and the instrumentation of the strings and the harps and all that great stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned that song alone is theatrical, but there's so many different styles in the album. So how do you balance staying true to your own signature style while also experimenting with some of those new sounds and styles?
Okay, so what I did was I wanted to, that's a good question because I wanted it to change the type of musicality in my music. I wanted it to be, if you listen to the album, Toby, you will see like it's very cohesive in sound. I was very strategic in track listing. I wanted it to be the same producer and who was going to executive produce it, which was Invert. So I wanted it to be all the songs and the styles to be the same with a little bit of difference in terms of genre, so that when you listen to track 1 or track 4 and you go into track 5, 6, and 7, it doesn't sound like a mix of different sounds where you're like, oh my God, this is too much. It doesn't match. It doesn't sound right. It's like you're going from up, down, wait, what's going on? But that doesn't mean that I didn't allow other producers to work with me.
Yeah.
There were producers like Vokito who gave me the new disco house, which was Seras Tu, and I was very strategic on where I put that. And then I also had Shawty Beats, and who did Jealousy. So I handpicked certain songs that would work for this album, where I didn't make that same mistake that I did in the last one, where I was just like, oh, I like this song because of this. Oh, this is a great, and then not listening to the album itself and understanding like, okay, these songs are not cohesive, they're not working. I wanted it to be an album. I feel like this is my best work yet to date.
I guess you'd hope that as you go on, it gets better.
It's very important when you need it to be cohesive and everything to sound right, because if it's a bunch of songs that doesn't match, it's like it starts to sound like a mixtape.
Yes.
And you don't want that.
No.
So I've learned from making music in the last 7 to 8 years, and I only put out, this is my third one, and I had an EP, that I've just learned, live life, stay in the studio, listen to the production, listen to the music, listen how you're going to make your vocals, and just go with the flow. Don't rush the process, because when you do that, it's not going to come out right, So this was the longest that I ever worked on an album. And I'm really proud of it because the sound is right, the production's right, the vocals are right, the style, we have the visuals. So I'm really excited.
And were there still any risks that you took with the album that you hadn't explored before in your music?
Risk. What are the risks? Spending a lot of money. Spending a lot of money. Yeah, that is a huge risk.
Yes.
Looking at your bank account and saying, "Wow, I am negative. Why did I spend 200 on that producer? Oh
Oh,
well,
wow.
it's gonna all benefit."
Yes.
I would say, well, not, it was all an investment, but in terms of creation, a risk, I would say taking a long time making a project.
Yeah.
Because I'm so like, oh my God, I need to put stuff out. I need to put stuff out. I don't want people to forget that I do this. Oh my God, and I was like, who cares? I don't need to prove anything to anybody. Like whether they wait or not or care, who cares? This is for my self healing, my own therapy.
Yeah.
The risk was taking time.
Yeah.
And 3 years was a long time because in the first one, it was like 6 months making the first one. The second one was like a year and a half. This one was long. So, and I was supposed to put it out last year at the end of 2023, but I wasn't ready. I didn't really have all the songs. I was like down by 2, 3 songs. Then I was trying to figure out what songs to end it with. So I kept pushing it to December. And then I was like, okay, I'm already done. I was like, I'm gonna put it on January because it's my birthday month. It's Capricorn season. It's a new year, started off right. So that was a big risk, but I wouldn't take it for granted because it was all worth it. You know, all good things come for those who wait.
Absolutely. Now, this album is, of course, out in the world now. It's called Jesse Vega. So what do you hope listeners will take away from the album?
I hope people can take away that it's okay that you can be on your own and move forward in life. You know, you never feel that you have to have somebody to make you feel better. And it's great if you have somebody in a relationship because then they have something that you're missing in your life that they can give you and you can give them. But it's not the end of the world where you feel like if relationships don't work out, it's like what you're going to do from now on. If you're going to be alone, are you not going to find someone that's going to love you or someone who's going to find you very fun to be around as a friend? That you'll be okay. And also, I want them to take away that there will be 1, 2, or maybe 3 songs that can resonate with you. You know, like I said, whether you like my music or not, you know, there will always be some song that can really, oh, I like that one. That song will relate to my life, you know, because like I said, no one listens to albums nowadays. So when they do listen to my album, I want them to take away at least listening to the lyrics, listening to the vibe on what caters to you moving into 2024.
Now, what's next for you after the release of this album? Are there any upcoming projects or collaborations or tours or even more styles and genres that you are looking to delve into?
So with this album, because it's the third one, I do have ideas of what I want to do in the further. You know, I would love to make my own concert for it. That is an idea. That is a goal because I haven't done that. I haven't done a concert. I haven't done a live setting of my own music, my own showcases. So that's obviously my bucket list. There are collaborations in the album. We have Madeline Cassiano come back and track number 10. We have Phoenix Rosario, who's in the remix rap version of Tell Me Lies. So we had, you know, features in it. But we're gonna just flesh out the visuals. You know, I've done a few visuals for the album. You know, we have Doing Me. We have a couple of visuals in the album that I'm gonna start popping them out in like every couple of months because I don't want it to be like, okay, here, new video, new video, new video. I want it to just gradually, you know, more promo. But I feel like for the rest of the year, I'm gonna really promote this album and hopefully, with God willing, hopefully do a showcase live concert for it. So that's the goal.
Sounds exciting. And in the meantime, where are we able to listen to this album, Jesse Vega?
You can listen to my self-titled brand new album, Jesse Vega, with the 3, on all music outlets. That is Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube Music. Make sure you watch my latest video, which is called Doing Me. That's on youtube.com/Jesse Vega Music. Stream, share, tell all your friends, listen to the music. I want you to take away anything that you can relate to the lyrics and the content of this album because it's a labor of love. I put my heart and soul in it for 3 years. So yeah, that's what they can take away from it. And that's where they can find me on my website, Twitter, Instagram, all that great stuff.
Brilliant. Well, many thanks for talking to us today and see you next time.
Thank you so much, Shout Radio and Toby. I am so appreciative and hope to see you guys soon.